Hey everybody, hope you're all doing good. Got a pretty cool system here to show you today. Now, from looking at this, you might think, oh, it's an Atari 2600, and to the untrained eye, that's what I was going for. So the story how I got this basically started when I went to go visit my computer shop buddy in town here where I live, and I noticed this Atari sitting underneath a pile of cardboard and other computers and stuff that he was working on, and I said, well, what's this Atari? And he's like, well, here, grab it, see if you can do something with it. I said, okay. So I brought it home, played around with it. I couldn't get it to run. I brought it to another friend of mine. We played around with it, and we got it to run. However, unfortunately, it worked for about an hour, and then the graphics chip died. It went all different colors, and then I was having the black screen of death on these, which unfortunately means that the graphic chip died. So anyway, I actually own this is a 6-switch model. I actually own a 4-switch model here, which this belonged to my mom, and they had it since new, and I believe this model is the little bit later version of it. I want to say that is going to be early 80s, not 100% sure. I believe this one here is also early 80s too. This is a 6-switch. Like I say, this was it's not the original one. This was a Hong Kong one, which isn't as desirable as the original one that were built in California, the original, but it's kind of cool. Anyway, I had this thing, it didn't work. So I went back to my buddy with the computer shop. I said, no dice, unfortunately, on the Atari. It had died on me. I said, I got this crazy idea where I want to try to put a computer into it. And he laughed, and he's got all these different laptops, and he said, well, go ahead, take a look and see what you can find. So I actually ended up finding a Dell Latitude 6450 that needed, the keyboard was messed up on it, and the sound didn't work, and it had all these issues. It was missing this and missing that, and no bottom cover. Anyway, the board inside should have been good. And it was an i7, I noticed too. So I said, you know what? I'm going to grab this and I'm going to see if I can put it into the Atari. So we're here today because I did that. And so we take a look. To the untrained eye, it actually looks pretty good. You wouldn't really notice that it's got a computer in it from the front. If we go over to the side here, you'll see that there are a couple USB and the MSATA, or whatever you call that port on the side there. If we look to the right side of this, you'll notice that there is a little bit of a vent here on the side. Oh, that's something a little bit interesting. We can spin this around here, and then to the back, you'll notice here first that don't mind these other holes there. That was me trying to get it lined up. But you'll see that there's a socket with a jack there for a power adapter. That's not standard. The normal one you'd have your joystick port and the Atari 9-volt adapter there. A little bit of a wire. If we look over here, you'll see that there's an HDMI port and a little bit of wire weirdness going on there. So if we look at this, let me put the camera back here. Let me show you the magics on this. I'll add this a super breakout cartridge, which is really cool with this. If we open this, you'll see that there's a little, I'll get to that in just a second, there's a little notch in there. But this guy, basically, all we need to do is grab this here. Let me come around. Grab this here and we slide it open. He said, he giggled, there you go. We can slide this open, and I'm just gonna set the back cover here like this. I put a nice long extended cable on here for the power switch, so we actually can use the power switch to turn on the system. I'll get to that in just a second, how that works, but let me set the back cover over here upside down, and I'll show you inside this thing how I ended up doing it. So if we look here real close, you'll see the Dell 6430 motherboard, which is actually mounted upside down. Normally when this is mounted in the laptop, this would all be facing down and your fan would be going out to the left-hand side, but it's actually backwards. You'll notice that with the USB, when I go later to plug those in, those go upside down, but it's okay because all I had to do was cut out a little side section. I rebuilt the part. You can see the couple cuts there in it. If you look, I just filled those up with some epoxy and painted it. But basically we have the whole functioning system of the laptop. This has an i7, I believe, I don't even know, 3470 M or something, dual core. It goes up to 3.7 turbo, which works pretty good. All intents and purposes, this thing works pretty good. To get it fitted in here, it basically, there's a little plug adapter that would go in here for the Ethernet plug. I removed that. Unfortunately, this fan was a little bit long, so it does stick out this side there, but not really noticeable, and it actually came with the black color from the factory, so it kind of blended in pretty good. I moved over the power adapter here. Just with this thing was built basically with dreams and hot glue. So I glued in the power adapter there. That's the hole in the back you saw. Glued down the whole board just with just a hot glue to hold it. I soldered on a lead to the power switch on the other side. Basically, that's a four different prongs on that power switch. So there's one with an arrow. I ended up soldering the wrong ones, and then the system would boot up and say there was errors with the CPU fan and all sorts of shenanigans. But basically, if you ever do this for some weird reason, there's four legs on that switch. The one with the arrow is like the in, and then the other 3, I believe, are out. So I just did that, and it works. But yeah, we got the Wi-Fi in there. Again, glued in. Our antenna's on the side here, stolen that from the laptop. We got 2 4 gig, 8 gig, sorry, my God, 2 4 gigabytes, 1200, that's 1600 sticks of RAM in there. So that's 8 gigs of RAM. There's our i7 with that freshly repasted. This only runs Intel HD graphics. We don't have a built-in graphics chip on this, unfortunately. Be nice if there was a little NVS or something in there, but not. So like I say, this is more for just kind of like a laptop system, more for emulation, really. And then the last thing that you'll notice, rather, is the SSD that's in here. So I actually wanted to use an SATA SSD, but all of these aren't actually linked up to PCI Express slots. So we can only use them for a WLAN card, wireless card. There's something I was reading with these about how, oh, it needs to be hooked up to the PCI lane for a SATA lane, or I don't know, whatever. It doesn't work, so we have to use this. So what I did is I actually had an SSD, but I had to, as you can see, I had to take it out of its shield because it would fit in here, and I actually bent the connector up just a little bit and put a bit of glue, hot glue, to support it. But I had to put this on an angle, and then with the casing, if you look really close here, you'll see how the case is shiny. I don't know if you can see that. Let me try to angle this a little better. No. The case is shiny here, and then there's a textured part. Now with the 2600, these little notches, the cover actually sits on there, and this overhangs a bit. So with that SSD with the case, it was just enough room that it wasn't sitting even. So I had to take it out of the case, put a little bit of hot glue, and I glued it in there and set it in there. But it works pretty good, and it sits, and everything seats very nice. I have to say, this went together, and it went together quite well. And to wrap it up, what I wanted to do is the power switch, because I didn't want to have a switch. The switch on this Dell is kind of just like a soft button. It doesn't have like a physical switch, not like a desktop tower. You know, it doesn't have a switch like on this guy where you press it like that. It's an actual little soft button. So I'm like, you know what? I got to solder a lead onto it, and I would love to use the Atari 2600's power switch. So what I did is, obviously there's the lead there. You can go to that. I'll close this back up so you can see how it closes. It just basically, if you look, the wood grain panel kind of slides in there, and that's something I had to do too, was clean out all of the glue, because the board is just glued in there, and it seats pretty nice. So this just slides in there. I'll go to the corner so you can see. That just slides in. There's 2 screws to hold it on. And oops, as I pinch the cable in there, there we go. And that just seats in there like that. So basically what I did with the power switch is, it's a lead. The power switch on this, I wanted to use the reset switch, because like a more normal power button, you would just go like that and it would turn on. It's got the spring in it. However, using the actual power switch, you'll see it's on, and then off, and then on. So if any of you have ever seen my video with the voice activated power switch, right now it's going to be off, like the leads are open. So when we do this, when we close it, when I move it to the off position rather, it's going to close the switch like you're pressing the button down and then on. So when this machine is off, basically we have to go like we're pressing it down and then back to on, which looks kind of weird because it's in the on position anyway. I actually flipped the leads. Originally I had it so it was set for this, and then you would do it, but that was stupid. So anyway, that's that. I'll show you here in a minute when I get it hooked up. Basically, we just plug this in with the HDMI, and we've got sound. We got our 2 USBs, and we're off to the races. It's pretty straightforward. And the icing on the cake with this too, which I'm actually just gonna open it back up here. I like to, when I close this, I like to tuck I put an extra long lead on this so I can open it and not have it get torn apart and ripped off. So basically the icing on the cake with this is that when it's closed, let's shut it up normally there, you'll see that port. Sorry, I meant to mention that when I had it open. That port's for the Dell dock if you were to plug this laptop into a dock. But we can grab one of our cartridges, and without modification, it slides right into the slot, and that Dell dock piece holds it perfectly in there. It's sturdy. It does seat a little bit deeper than in a normal 2600, but I mean, nobody will really know except for you guys now, because I told you normally when it's in the 2600, it will sit kind of out like that, so you can see the. Actually, here, well, you know what? Let me show you on a real 2600. You go just a little bit this. So you know what? It's not even that much different, because I believe it sits about where the astronaut's head is on this. Let's try it again. So yeah, it's about a 1/4 inch difference on there, but yeah, that's it all buttoned up. It takes 2 screws. This was, the plastic is very brittle on this. I mean, this machine is 1981. I found the tag inside when I had it apart, that it's a little bit old and the plastic's a little bit brittle, so it was breaking on me. I had to remove a bunch of the legs, but I think it came out pretty good. So I'm gonna hook it up now to my big TV here, and we'll do some vintage Atari gaming, and also just show you how it runs. It runs pretty good, I have to say. It's a pretty cool machine. I'm definitely happy with how it came out, but I'm gonna stop the video here now and hook it up to the TV, and I will be right back. All right, so I've got this all hooked up to the TV now. You'll see around the side here, I've plugged in my 4-to-1 USB adapter. That USB splitter, that's just hooking up to my keyboard and mouse over there. And then I've got a USB-C plugged in for my Xbox controller because we're going to play some Atari on the Atari computer. Atari, just like the good Lord intended. So we've got the HDMI plugged in, and it's hooked up to my nice sharp Oculus TV that I got from my neighbor, which has a little bit of a dark spot at the top there, which you'll see in a second, but that shouldn't affect the system at all, obviously. So we're gonna power it on. Hopefully this works. So remember, like I was saying earlier, works like a power button, so we're gonna do down and up. That's just gonna simulate kind of in and out, and we should have a post. So let's see, you can see it's obviously not doing anything right now, no signal, so I'm going to do in, out, and then we should have the world's largest Dell post screen in just a second here. And I'm going to be controlling this from just kind of off. There we go. I'm going to be controlling this from off camera here. So let's set the whatever down. Going to be kind of a weird spot. Wow, that boots up quick with the SSD. Oh yeah, look at that. So put this over. Put this over. Actually, know what I lied. Let's put this down here. Be better, and I can actually center this up on here. Well, maybe I should have done this first before I started the video, but that would have made too much sense. Anyway, there we go, the login. Another thing I had to do with this is the issue I had was that the login screen wasn't showing up. However, the issue that I was having with it was basically that obviously this is a laptop board, but it's not actually plugged into a laptop screen, I guess you'd say. And what it was doing is just trying to default only on this screen for some reason. It was showing up as the built-in screen was there, and then it was showing the big screen here, this big huge guy, as a second monitor. So actually a good trick with the HD graphics is if you right click here, and then if you go to, okay, apparently it doesn't show up now. There was actually an option in the menu here with the HD graphics panel, and it said show only on, or maybe it was in show more options. Yeah, here we go. So graphic options, and then if I went into, it was one of these here, and it actually let me to, yeah, here, output to, and then extend desktop. So we can basically do this, and I switched it. You'll see here, built-in display. This one was first, so when I did this, nothing would show up on here. I wouldn't have the start menu and all that stuff. And basically, unfortunately, nothing was working. So let me show you this real quick. We'll do some Atari games here. I mean, I've got Minecraft. I was actually playing Minecraft pretty good, but the machine runs quite good. Like I say, this is a nice big TV here. You see that it is cut off a little bit. I haven't bothered to adjust. Okay, why did that do that? I haven't bothered to adjust the display overhang of this, but anyway, yeah, so we're i7-3540M. This thing turbos up to 3.7. It runs pretty good. It also downclocks here now. I've got, again, there's the 8 gigs of RAM in there, and there is my 240 gig SSD, or sorry, 256 gig. Very fancy. But yeah, runs good. We're gonna play some Atari on the Atari computer. So this works really good. I'm actually using here my Xbox One janky controller that I got in a trade, which works pretty good plugged in as I say that, and it's not actually working right now. Let's try plugging it back in. Maybe that'll make it work. There we go. Oops. We tried. Oh my God, that is so aggravating. Do you want an app for your controller? No, I don't. I was playing Keystone Capers earlier, but this worked good. I'm using the controller for this right now, and we can go. This is actually a thing I've downloaded of every Atari ROM, which is pretty awesome, I have to say. I'm going to go down to one that I know so that when I play it, I don't look like a total dumbass. But oh, Missile Command. These bring me back. Oh, my favorite, Moon Patrol. There's apparently 40 of them. Let's do the OG Moon Patrol. Whoa, that looks terrible. Why does that look so weird? That's not like the one I have. I actually have the cartridge of that game, but that one looks really weird. It must be a later version. Let's try this one. That looks more like it. Another fun thing, yes, this is what I remember. I actually have the cartridge for this on the, for the actual Atari. This was my favorite game as a kid. But what I've also done is with the right bumper, it should be, actually, I'm going to see, because it almost looks like it doesn't, for some reason, you can set this You can set the inputs of your controller, which, like you see here, I can move back and forth okay and everything and steer. This game you can actually slow down. You see here I'm slow. You got to jump over those holes. You can actually speed up. See how fast I'm going now? And you can jump with the up button. Whoa! But well, I like to set my reset button as the trigger, and then you can also do a cartridge kind of tilt. They call it a I'm trying to remember what they call it. A certain thing to kind of like tilt the cartridge. Whoa, on this, goodbye. But for some reason, when I do that, it doesn't, hold on, it doesn't let me save it for some reason, which is really weird. I don't really know why, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do exit game on this. I'm going to go into my options setting here, and I'm going to go to that input, which is probably the same thing. And you'll see here, fry cartridge, and then it shows up as there, but let me, for some reason, whenever I change this, it never stays. So instead of that, I'm going to do fry cartridge as the B button on my controller, and then I'm going to go to the reset here. Actually, hold on. Oops. I'm going to go to reset, and I'm going to reset, or erase actually. I'm going to go reset, and I'm going to put the X button as reset and see if that actually stays. So now let's go to that, close. Let's try this again here and see if it's going to work for me. Perfect. That's the reset. And then we can actually cartridge tilt this. Oh, and it just crashes right away. But it's pretty fun to see. I did it again there. Let's do it real quick. And oh yeah, that made a bit of a mess of the, that made a bit of a disaster of the graphics. It's fun to see this. It reminds me of the old N64 cartridge tilt too, which is pretty cool. But this works good. It plays it without a hitch. You see, I got my mouse on the side there too. But if none of you've ever seen this, the OG Pac-Man is so. This used to give me nightmares as a kid for some reason. I don't really know why, but it's just, something is really unsettling about this, and it always kind of creeped me out as a kid. Not going from the arcade version that we all know and love to this terrifying thing. Like, look at that Pac-Man. What even is that? He's so low. And the ghosts are like hardcore in this. They do not mess around. I'm actually going to try to cartridge tilt this a bit and see how bad it messes it up. Whoa! That was different. Let's do that again. I'm in the wall. Stop, bro! I'm stuck. Oh. Apparently, I can just. Oh no! Oh no! Go down. This way. Ah, there we go. Oh, we don't want to eat it anyway. That's all right. Oh. Yeah. Bye. Oh, just kidding. I'm back. 3 points. Can I get the thing? No. Let's do a little more. Oh. This cartridge tilt is pretty funny. Self-defeatist. I like Q-Bert. Actually, this should actually be pretty fun to play because I have the joystick and I can actually play this properly. This is that thing kills you, and you can kill him by jumping on this thing where he just jumps to his death. But this game is hard because it uses a fake kind of isometric grid, and that happens where the guy just comes out of nowhere when you're up there and just squashes you, and you can't. You gotta move like up. Oh no! Oh, I don't know how I did that. You can also jump off the edge of this. This is actually really hard with this joystick. I don't know. I actually used to be really good at this game, but apparently now I'm not. You know you're good at Q-Bert when you get to the different set of levels when you have to jump on these 3 different times to do it. Come on, no! I'm gonna try to cartridge tilt this. Let's see. So let's do reset and see what happens with this. Hello? All right. Oh! Oh no! that didn't go over too well. Let's try that again. Oh. He just gets evaporated. This is entertaining. These are entertaining to do. You can see some of the sprites on the left there. My ears. I actually can play. Oh, please let me respawn. Yes. No. Apparently I have infinite lives. What? How did I? What? What is? What is going on? No! I just keep dying. Do I even have Qbert? Where is he? Oh, there he is. Oh my god! Oh yeah, Space Invaders, 1980. The same age as my car. No, get out of here. No, okay, fine. Reset. There we go. Look at that. Whoa. A fun fact with the Space Invaders is that actually on the original 2600 is that the reason why they speed up. I could be wrong with this, but from what I've read, is that the reason why they speed up is because there's so much stuff on the screen, and the Atari's processor is so slow that as you shoot the aliens, there's less of them on the screen, so there's less stuff for the Atari to process. Hence that they actually speed up because the processor is able to run faster because there's less stuff on the screen that it's got to do here. So let's cartridge tilt this, and okay. Woo. Now I'm invisible. This is pretty funny. My shooter is invisible, which is kind of not good. And I can apparently shoot quicker. Let's do it again. Oh! There's only one left. That's it. Ooh. It didn't like that. Let's try that again. Yes. I like how it flashes. It's like, here, this is you. This is, whoa! What is this? What? Okay, now, what? Did I lose? I don't know. They just went at like Mach 10 there. Jesus. It's like, take me out, I'm done. It crashes. Oh man, that cartridge tilt is good. That's fun. I wanna let's do one more. I lied. This is so much fun. I wanna do one more of these. This is entertaining. This is one of the most entertaining machines that I've built. It's cool and it runs good. This whole thing was like 50 megabytes. That's it. You've got every Atari game ever. There, you can see at the top there, 2,148. That's pretty good. I mean, a lot of them are duplicates in here. There's different versions, whatever, but they're all here. I mean, nowadays when you get these video games and it's like an update, it's 60 gigabytes, and then this whole all of these games combined, 2,000 games, and they're 50 megabytes. It's different, and they're fun. This is good. I mean, it's not like it's any involved story or anything super advanced, but it's fun. You can definitely have some fun, and definitely good for friends too if you want to have some friends over and just play these games. It's fun. But anyway, let's get this closed out of here now. I think you can see how it works pretty good. I don't actually know how to even leave this. Exit close. Oh, okay. There's a way to actually do this, but I don't actually know how you really leave this emulator, to be honest. It doesn't have like an exit button on it, but that's basically that. It runs quite good. You'll see here we were playing the games and things running, and to put my hand up to the heatsink, you can hear the fan is going, but it's so quiet. Like it's not going full speed, but it's nice and quiet. It runs great. So what I'm gonna do is I'll actually shut this machine off with the. Actually, take a look in there first. You can see it. You can see it hanging out. Even if I stick my finger in the slot, not warm at all. I mean, this is running so much cooler than when it was in the laptop, just because the case here is it's so much more space. There's not even a fan in here. Just the fan. A new thermal paste on the heatsink, and that's all we need. So let me shut it off here. I'm gonna try to get this so you can see me click it. I'm going to click the power button off and on, and it should shut down the machine. So let's do that, off and on. And, oh, there we go. Actually, you know what? I bet you anything it's going to go into hibernate mode for that. So let's, you know what? Wow, that's quick. Let me do that off and on again and see if it goes back into the login screen. I'm actually curious. Because I guess if you press it on the laptop, it would, let's see, well, there's the post. If you press it on the laptop there, I think it does that. I think it just goes into like a sleep mode. I'm not 100% sure. But honestly, that almost looks like the boot up screen again, tell you the truth. I'm not sure. I don't know, whatever. Let's shut it off. I'm actually going to do a hard power off on it now, so if I hold it for a few seconds, it should shut the machine off, I would think. Just like I'm pressing the button, maybe not. Oh, okay. Who knows? The Dell might be a little bit different, but that looks like it shuts it down. I'm not 100% sure. It should work as far as a shutdown thing on it, which is, like I say, I'm not 100% sure. Let's try that again out of curiosity and see with the power button, because I think, like, here, let me hold it down now, and it should simulate like I'm pressing the button in. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now it's shut off. There we go. That's the hard shut down, and that's gonna be that. Like I say, here it is all done. I think it's pretty cool. I hope you guys get a kick out of this. I know I did take apart a classic Atari, but it was dead, and I have to say, this is definitely a lot more usable than the Atari, especially when I've got one over there already anyway. So, and this is the 6-switch version, so it's cool that I have both versions of it. But anyway, that's gonna be that. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Any comments? I always like to hear them. If you're gonna comment and just kind of talk crap about my videos, I did. The comments are welcome as long as they're friendly. Just kidding. But I like criticism too. But if you're gonna come on here and tell me things about my systems that your opinions that are wrong, I found out recently that you can actually just delete comments off YouTube. So that's interesting, and it's good to know, because sometimes I get comments of people saying, "Oh, you should do this or you should do that," when they're completely irrelevant comments that don't even make any sense. So if you're going to have a completely irrelevant comment that doesn't make any sense, I will be deleting it. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you like this little system. I would love to see if somebody built one of these themselves. I don't know if anybody's done this before. I'm going to do a bit of Googling and see if I could see something similar that's been done. But anyway, that's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and have a good one. Bye for now.